You are appreciated. My last jam, me and Baba had beef. He almost had them a J. You throw me out upon the street with an attitude and a smile on my face. There ain't a teacher alive that could take the master's place. Remember the schools, remember the studies he put us through that made the meek dumbfounded wise fools. Gave us a culture, nation, and a language. Visualization tones that got us through the pain and anguish. Tamaré, I shoot tied into my garage. Replace Mohammedans, Ramadan, Salah, and Hajj. Serious, right? And even in that whack deen, Baba, you always was a black king, Baba. I finally see the plan, ain't it easy making immortals out of mortal man? Nope, till this day you committed. Working with the blacks you was giving, Baba, tell me how you did it. Ansar, HDN, Wu-Sabat, Imam Isa, Dr. York, Malachi Sadak. Thought you stopped cause they had your lock. Not Doc, gave us my Utah and Patarak. The guidance to the sun, cycle from the moon. Master teacher of the heavens and earth. Honda Bab Yanoon, ain't no way I can pay you back. But my plan is to show you that I overstand. You all appreciate it. Just how much you love us. Yeah, Baba is it. Place no one above you. All appreciate it. Please know that we love you. And everybody know the science ran. For us to get you out of there, we gotta learn to care. We fall astray from foolish desires that lead to danger. Ignorance and ego trapped in anger. While you're alone in the darkness, waiting for us to get a father home. We out here doing wrong. We all just caught up in our own emotions. When it's your freedom, that should be our one and only focus. And when the white devil magic left us hopeless, the green and black light you gave us done made us potent. I wish that I could take the pain away and shade it from the blinding light on the brightest day. Now who we know that can do what you do and say? Mafus at gatekeepers in the gateways. They took you cause they know nobody else can reach us. Wu-Sabat won't allow us to settle for their teachers. They can't fit your shoe size, use a shapeshifter. They try to spit their true lies, but they ain't gifted. Even those that left the goddess in the hereafter. Ego tripping, tricking the masses. When crumbs from the table of the master, speaking up the intellect of earth. And I'm eternally grateful for my rebirth. And no, I could never pay you back. You see, my plan is to show you that I overstand. You all appreciate it. Just how much you love us. If I it, place no one above you. Please, please know that we love you. Dear, please, dear, please, dear Papa.
A second brain. Human is a very important bio battery that can be charged and store and get energy. Some people depending on coffee, depending on the smoke, to stimulate the body. We fool the body to give us energy. People are success because they know how to focus and concentrate their energy. When people are not success, the mind go one way, the eye go one way, the heart go one way. So energy very scattered and you lose energy.
You're 73 years old. You don't get sick, do you?
No, a long time. Qi is the energy. In Chinese we call Qi. In India we call Prana. In many systems they have different names for that.
What do the West call it? What do the Americans call it?
We call energy.
Energy.
Or we call electromagnetic power. And we are electrical man. We have electricity inside us. We need that electricity to run our life. We have bioelectromagnetic energy, but we never focus it. The first step, you focus. And now when you focus, you have a lot of energy immediately. So the Tao discovered that for 1,000 years, at least written down and carved on the wall, 2,500 years, that abdominal area, where you can store energy.
Abdominal area.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you cannot store energy in the brain. You cannot store energy in the heart. Human is a very important bio battery that can be charged, can store, and get energy. And that is abdominal. So the Westerner discovered that intestinal here, the structure of intestinal is like a battery, negative, positive, negative, positive. It can charge energy. They discovered that, but they never go on what to do with it. Scientists, they discover the second brain, that's 100 years ago. Until now, they still don't know what to do. But now they just, after 100 years, they have a breakthrough. Now they discover that we have another organs in the abdominal. They call them mesentery. This organ actually control all the digestion, absorption, and elimination. So they have one like conductor. It's a big organ, cover the spleen, the stomach, the pancreas, the liver, the small intestine, the large intestine. They cover it and they dilate it. Now I understand that, this is what the Tao always talk about this. The center of these new organs is in the center of the navel, right here, right in here.
Okay.
Actually about this big, big organ. But they are on the back, cover all the digestion. Because you see, digestion you have liver, gallbladder, stomach, pancreas, spleen also part of the Tao belief that. And this big, and including the stomach, they are doing so many jobs in digestion. And everybody doing different jobs. Okay. If you don't have a director, control them like the brain. So the British scientists discovered that we have a second brain. And this second brain, amazing. They're conducting everything. And the Tao discovered that if you keep this second brain here warm, and this also a battery can store energy. People are draining their energy. So all what we do now, all the people now is exhausted. Okay. Because the battery, the bio battery run out. Okay. Like your mobile telephone, when your battery don't charge, no use.
Okay,
right?
So we're not charging up our abdomen, which is where our Tao is.
Right.
And we're using our stomach really to just consume things.
Right. But now we know that this is more than just digestion. They can remember, they can store. So now the Tao talk about this one store emotion, negative and positive.
Stores emotions.
Yes. Now the West know that love in the heart, right?
Right.
And what happened to the other organ? Yes. So love, joy, happy in the heart, but also hatred, impatience, hastiness is in the heart. Okay. So the negative, positive, now you have to find balance. Some of them is too extreme. When too extreme, you hate people, and you kill people. So now love and hate have to be fire balance. So no negative and no sin and no evil or goodness, because you have to find balance. Everything in the world have to find balance.
Okay. So the heart has those emotions.
Yeah, and the liver have angry, jealousy, envy, frustration. It's a lot of emotional.
How do we know that's in the liver? How do we know that?
Because the Tao already talked this for 1,000 years. But if
them?
we know the heart store love, and why not the other organs?
I don't know. We always say heart. I don't know. I don't know how we know. Just like you say, trust your guts.
Yes.
I don't know where that came from. I guess because we feel it.
But this is important.
Yeah.
When people shout at you, boom, you feel like something hitting you.
In your stomach,
because the liver actually take the angry and store in here.
Okay.
So that's why the Tao say, hey, if you don't clean out this one, you cannot clean out from the brain.
Right. Okay.
The brain, people think that everything emotional is the brain. No. Negative emotional, like record down in the organs, organ by organ. Like kidney, now the West discovered that also the fear in the kidney.
All right. So we have to start paying more attention to our bodies.
Yes.
And not just our biceps and our other things, like the internal parts.
Internal. My master told me, say, if you take care of your 5 major organs, the 5 major organs strong, you can take care of 1,000,000 problems.
All right. So that's the first step, recognizing these organs are important.
Yes.
What's the next step in the Master Chi process?
For me, it's good to be just do some simple exercise in the sitting position,
Right.
because we have the fluid inside, and everything is a fluid floating. So the first step in the Tao say, hey, the first step, we have the spinal cord fluid floating in the spine.
Okay.
And when we sit on the pump. So that we have the second pump and cranial pump.
Okay.
So that is the major part.
Okay.
So a very simple exercise, we say, moving the spinal cord fluid and the brain fluid.
Okay.
So what we do, we inhale, we go like this. We inhale, you expand your chest,
Okay.
you expand your stomach, and your neck go like this. Okay, your chin go back.
Oh, okay.
And now when you exhale, you curve down. So you curve everything down. Inhale. Exhale. Curve enough that you feel, because we have two tendons there. When you curve them, you activate the pump.
Okay.
So inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Smile. Breathing in golden light into your spine and your brain. And exhale. Cloudy and gray color out. Sometimes we just let go all the emotion or everything down to the ground. When you do for a while, you rub your hand warm. And you cover the sacrum and your cranium. So now when you rest for a while, you can really feel that warm. Your sacrum warm and your cranium. This is the cranial pump. So we have a pump because we stand up. So the Tao said when we stand up, we like a 24-story high. When you move them, something moves. And now when you can feel them, okay, conscious feel about something moving, energy moving, we call you beginning practicing the chi.
Okay.
The energy, the chi flow.
The chi force.
So chi flow. So when you feel that warm night and you rest for a moment, you smile. And you feel your whole spine nice and
Guys, he's trying to teach him how to feel your chi energy. We call it sachem, just so you know. I'll show you that in a minute.
so your sacrum.
This is what you guys have to learn how to do. You have to first learn how to tap into your energy, your spirit energy, your life force energy. We'll call it sachem.
Okay.
And become to work.
Okay.
When it don't work, what we do, we tired, exhausted.
Okay.
And we're depending on coffee, or some people are depending on the smoke to stimulate the body to keep up. We fool the body to keep us energy.
Okay. Okay.
That is our key.
Okay.
And now this is the flow. Now we have 2/3 of the fluid is in here.
2/3 of the fluid. So we started with the spinal
The
fluid.
spinal fluid.
Then that breathing technique was to get the spinal fluid going. Okay. And you would do that longer normally?
We
many
we
breaths?
rest, feel the energy flow, another 9.
9.
If
Okay.
you do 9, 9, 18, or 20, or 36, that's a good number.
Okay.
So if you do that and you rest, you feel the flow. That is how we call energy.
Okay.
You feel chi flow.
Okay. And then you warm your hands and you put it here afterwards.
Just
Just
because
to
there's
feel.
a two pump, two
Okay.
big pumps.
Just to warm them up. Okay.
To
And you-
warm them up, and you feel there's something moving.
Okay. And you do this sitting down, or you can do that standing up too?
Standing up is the best.
Is the best for that exercise. Okay. Okay.
The
All right.
same exercise. But the next one we divide here because this is the fluid.
Right. This is the most important part.
The more important part, because 2/3 of the fluid come in here.
Okay.
Because we have all the organs. We have the liver takes so much blood, kidney takes so much blood, stomach, small intestine. When we eat, so much blood coming to take nutrition and everything. So much blood.
Right.
And the whole key is the sickness. The sickness come from that when the fluid don't flow.
Okay. Okay.
And the stagnant, now every sickness comes.
Okay.
And we take so many millions and millions.
And he's trying to explain when your energy is cut off, this is why we get sick. Guys, keep that in mind.
You see all these sick people. Do you just think, man, why don't they just get breathing, get the
Yes.
fluid moving, and then half of them would be out of the hospital?
That's it.
All of them would be out.
Yeah, I have so many students that come to me. They're so sick. Like in France this time, they said, I came here 2 days only. They said, I feel so much better. Just by this breathing, by the fluid flow, aware of the fluid flow, and aware that Dantian can store qi. And now they have, because they drain themselves and they don't, you keep on using your mobile telephone and you don't charge them. It's gonna go. Okay. So now it's very simple. In here we said we have lower abdominal, middle, upper. So lower part we have sexual organ. And we have elimination. That is the last intestine. In here we have small intestine, the absorption and kidney. And here we have all the digestion. People don't care about it. Okay. And people so stressful. Stress, we call, now the Western, the definition is that stress is when you're in stress, we call fight and flight response. You are go to war or you're running.
Fight or flight response with stress.
And now when you are in the resting mode, you are in rest and digestion. But when you stress, digestion nearly slow down or non-digestion. Now, no food supply.
Okay, guys, I wanted to start off with that because he's addressing some very crucial information you guys need to be familiar with. We're gonna cover that in detail as we move through these discussions. The key here, just so you guys can see, we have the word here, sachem. That's our word for life force energy. We call it sachem. The Chinese call it qi. The Hindus call it prana. And here in the West, they call it energy, right? And so you have to learn how to tap into your sachem, which is your life force energy. So let me write that down. Equals life force energy. Okay, this is what gives us life. Once you learn how to harness this life force energy, this is what sustains you. This is what, in fact, this is why we're constantly getting sick, because we are not taught these things, and we're cut off from this life force energy. That's why we age, we decay, and our people are dying at alarming rates under all types of illnesses and diseases, because you was never taught this. We were never taught how to harness our sachem. This is what we used to teach in our culture. Okay, so I want you guys to keep that in mind, because we're going to be addressing that. So let's get started with our discussion for today, right? Let's see over here. For those who don't know me, right? My name is Peti Sina Tebtu Brae, and I've been over a 30-year student teacher of the profound doctrine of the master teacher, known to us as Panabab Yananan, also known as Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, who has been teaching us our ancient culture. We identify as Wu-Sabat. We also identify it as Wu-Nawat, which stands for those who make decisions based on sound right reasonability, based on the principles of Ma'at, based on the wisdom of the Hutui. In essence, what we're saying is our culture was about being in harmony and in tune with natural nature. This is what we lived as Africans, right? This is why they'll say our culture is based around what they call animism, which identified that all existence is animated. This life force, which is what we just talked about, the sachem. Our ancestors were in harmony with this life force energy. And this life force energy pervades everywhere. It's throughout the universe itself, throughout the omniverse. And we knew how to connect with this life force energy. And this is the knowledge we forgot. We're not in tune with this energy, which was a part of our culture that we as Africans, we knew this, we lived by this. And we used to know how to harness this life force energy. And now we're in a state of ignorance. And so our goal as students, I'm just one of many students who are trying to re-educate our people about our ancient culture. We identify as Wu-Sabat because we argue that when you look at the conditions of our people around the globe, the suffering we're dealing with is due to the fact that we lost our reasonability. We lost our knowledge on how to make intelligent decisions. And we've been dealing with this problem for the last 6,000 years, which is the basis of our suffering. And so we try to explain that the only way we can fix our problems is to get back to a lifestyle, which is what we call Wu-Sabat of our ancestors, that's going to solve these problems, where we're going to start making better and intelligent decisions, and you're going to see the reflection of that in your life. This is the ultimate goal, and this is why we do what we do. And I like to also say, disclaimer, I'm not above making mistakes, so if I make any errors or mishaps, please do not hesitate to correct me. I'll do my best to fix anything that we say. I think that's important. But now we go into every week. I go over our core principles of our culture for those who don't know and that are new. This is the core principles that we live by as a Wu-Sabat / Wu-Nawap. And for those who are familiar with it, right, this is a recap that we do every week, that you guys realize that our whole goal is to live our life based on these core principles. And our lectures that we're doing, the many lectures that's on our site, is based around these things, right? It's based around learning these principles and applying it into your day-to-day lifestyle, which is our ultimate goal. Okay, so the first principle is Ashak, and that stands for divine love, right? The goal is for us to get back in harmony with the creative force, and that it puts us in a state of divine absolute love, where we learn how not to be affected and influenced by the negative forces that pervades this planet. Our people are so caught up by the negative forces, and that's because they're not in the power of love. And once we get into the power of love, then we can learn to be at harmony with our people. We can stop judging our people. We would be able to deal with them on a higher level of reasonability. We've lost that ability, and we get caught up in the emotions of negativity. And we have to learn to go above those negative energies and learn how to tap into the creative force energies, so we're not caught up in that. And that's one of our ultimate goals, is to tap back into this power. Okay, principle number 2 is resurrection. The whole goal of being a student of Wu-Sabat is to restore yourself, to resurrect yourself back to being goddesses and gods, as our ancestors were, right? And by doing this, you open up your third eye, and this is what puts you in harmony with that Ashak we just talked about, right? Principle number 3 is wisdom of the Hutui and Ma'at. The Hutui stands for our divine mind. Ma'at stands for order. We did lectures on that, so I always recommend everybody to watch it if you have not. And if you have, watch it again. We always say, until you start applying these things in your day-to-day life, keep watching this information until it's a part of your everyday life and you're able to explain it to others. That's the ultimate goal, right? Each one teach one. Principle number 4 is relationships, right? As African people, we always live of, for, and by each other as a community. This is our ultimate goal, for us to get back to that and get away from the cultures of capitalism that's destroying us. Okay. Principle number 5 is morphic resonance / matrix. Morphic resonance deals with sound, tone, vibration, frequencies. These are the creative force, harmonic forces that the universe is based on, that produces matrices, the materials that manifest from these morphic frequencies. Okay. Principle number 6 is soul and spirit. Your soul is your emotional body, and your spirit is your life force. We did lectures on that, so check it out. Principle number 7 is Leviathan, which equals moon culture, aka religion, aka Western culture. This is what we're at war with, the negative forces of Leviathan. Watch the lectures we did on that. Principle number 8 is health, equals the key core to health is 1, starting with a positive mind. right? As melanated people, we need much sunlight, water. The body is 70% water. Fasting at least once or twice out of the week. A herbal diet. We always talk about the Dr. Sebi herbal diet. Exercise, rhythmic breathing. This is key. Remember, rhythmic breathing, meditation, concentration, prayer, and chanting. All of those are key prerequisites for health, guys. Principle number 9 is identifying with the creative force. We identify as Pa'ut, right? In our language, this stands for all. The creative force is Pa'ut, we say, and it's based on cycles. So we have the Smat. It's based on the cycles of nature. The nature itself is based on these perpetual cycles. And the energy itself we call Akach. It translates to ether. And it stands, and we call it Akach. That's the name of the energy of this creative force, right? Now, for those who choose to be students of Wu-Sabat, we have 3 primary goals, right? Goal number 1 is to raise the self. Goal number 2 is to fight Leviathan. And goal number 3 is to work to build Sabbatia. Now, we're looking at goal number 1. Our first objective is to, like Christians teach, to be born again, which is you're giving up the old culture for the new culture, Wu-Sabat, and to live it, right? So one of your first objectives is to correct your name by choosing a Sabaean name and making it known to all. You correct how you dress and look. You learn to speak the language Sabaic. You must study our doctrine each and every day. This is how you develop the right knowledge that we talk about, which leads to your better decisions. So studying our doctrine is key. You must practice and master our daily rituals. That is non-negotiable. You must learn how to turn yourself inside out. That's the ultimate goal, where the spiritual you is able to take over. You know, right now we're being ruled by the physical. We have to be ruled by our higher self, our spiritual self, and you can't accomplish these goals without being positive, right? So positive mind is the ultimate key. Principle number 2 is fight Leviathan. This is what we're at war with. This includes working a free Padabab Yananan, right? Promoting Wu-Sabat, become a student teacher, and fight the 6 strongest weapons of Leviathan, which is ignorance, fear, ego, anger, lust / your desires, lies / deception, right? This is what Leviathan is based around. Okay, and we talk about the gossip and the slander. The Leviathan is based around all of that negative energy, and this is what we have war with. And the last objective, your goal is to work to build Sabbatia. We work to support each other in business. We help each other reach positive goals. We help to build our culture, and we must set up a landing zone for partner thought in Africa, which means we need land in Africa that would be supported by an African government. Okay. Our shack is the key to accomplish all our goals, guys. Remember that. Now, what does it mean to be a Sabaean? A Sabaean is someone who is thoughtful and cares, someone who is helpful and honest, someone who is responsible and hardworking, someone who demands justice, someone who is righteous, someone who is positive and cheerful, someone who is loving and peaceful, someone who is clean, and someone who is kind and considerate. Now, our purpose as Sabaean is liberation from adverse forces. Our goal is to get us. We have to get ourselves away from adverse forces, right? So number 1, we must take action each and every day to free yourself of 6 ether spirits inside and out, which includes Black people who are possessed by these spirit forces, guys. Number 2, acknowledge and fight 6 ether from promoting capitalism, the gay agenda, miscegenation, and the so-called equality of the races. That's key. And number 3 is to learn, live by, and promote the laws / rules of natural nature. Now, word of advice. Do not judge this doctrine by watching the behavior of Panabab Yanana nor his students. Judge this doctrine by the effectiveness of the information, aka affirmation, that you personally put into practical use. This doctrine is based on self-authentication. I can't say that enough, guys. This doctrine is based on self-authentication, right? This doctrine is about spiritual development. If you don't apply yourself to develop yourself, then you have no one to look at other than yourself why you haven't succeed in what we're trying to teach, right? So I think that's extremely effective or important for you guys to know. Now, before we get started into our actual lessons, we go through our prayers. So let's address that, and then we'll get right into it, right? Let's see. First, we start off fast. Bade kalab namasat wu fadkor amad kasamun shalil pu'ut. Pa sawat wu pa tarap. Banan safa kawun pa sawat wu pa tarap. Z kawuna nazula laha enkum manad sabat Wu-Sabat. Amad hade en wu shafayun. Manad musafu kun manad muslafu wu nataru ajulaya nafasu kun. Afuk Shane Kawun Kuma Pasawa Wu Patara. This book is the truth and the way. It was sent down for you all from Sabat Wu-Sabat, star constellations, as a guidance and a healing from your ancestors and overseers. Return to your own, accept what is yours, the truth and the way. And nun tawa ankum lehe penan shafe'un wu alaj. Enun tawa enkum lehe nasuinun. Enun tawa enkum lehe ashuk. Enkum at the salafunun. Enun at the karaukum. Enun talub nasar kuma. Enun talub nasar kuma. And so nun sayim nataru. And so nun salafunun. Enun at the muspa'u. We thank you all for this healing and cure. We thank you all for not forgetting us. We thank you all for divine love, Ashuk. You are our ancestors. We are your children. We seek your help. We seek your help. Help us, divine overseers. Help us, our ancestors. We are Musba'u. Anun. Atun, Atun, Amun. Okay, Judna 4. All right, guys. Today's discussion is called The Mind's Eye. Now, this is centered around actually 3 particular books that the master teacher put out. One, it's called The Mind's Eye. So you can see this book right here is a Patarak, and it's called The Mind's Eye. So this discussion is centered around this particular Patarak. In addition to that, this is another book, Are There Black Devils, right? And let's see, just so you can see the cover of it. This is the cover of it. That the master teacher, he put this out. This is a revised edition of this particular book. And this was put out, I believe, in 2001 itself, in the early 2001. I believe this book was put out. And then this discussion is also based around this actual facts number 29. It's called Reflections and Projections. Reflections and Projections. So for you guys, I highly recommend is to get access to these particular books, because our discussion is going to be centered around that. So now, greetings, Rahubat, Lightbringer. I'll address that, but no, Leviathan is not positive. Regardless of what the brother Bobby Hemmett says, no, those brothers, I respect a lot of the things that those brothers teach, whether it be Bobby Hemmett or Phil Valentine, or you have even the brother Dilbert Blair who transitioned. You got that brother now, Brother Panic or whatever.
No, Leviathan is not positive, guys. That's not our spirit force. Leviathan is 60 to 4. So I highly recommend for anyone. That's why I said we did a lecture on that subject and explaining that. And I've addressed the concept of Leviathan many times. The master teacher has written books on the subject of Leviathan. So I highly recommend for everyone to definitely study those lectures. It's on our channel. Let's see. So because it's real important for everybody to be familiar with Leviathan and what that spirit force is all about. But it's right here. This particular lecture right here, the spell of Leviathan 666, is definitely important for any individuals to check that particular lecture out to give you some insight. And I always recommend the series we did, the African Science of Existence. We did a 4-part series that go into that in detail. Watch all of those lectures because it'll really give you some insight on what the science of Leviathan is versus our science, which is the science of Noon or the science of NoopooH, okay? Wu-Sabat. So it's imperative that you know the difference between Noon science and the science of Leviathan, okay? So we've definitely did a lot. We put out a lot of information on that to help, everyone on that particular subject matter. But let's get started. Okay, so question, what is the mind's eye? The mind's eye is our secondary form of sight that we have when we close our eyes. We are able to see things in our mind's eye using our imagination or dreaming or visions or even illusions that we create. One must realize that when you see things with your eyes closed, this is an undeveloped sense we long forgot how to use. Those on a path towards spiritual development must become aware of the significance and power of our mind's eye, aka third eye. This is why we're talking about the disagreeable ones, they spend billions on the media to poison the mind's eye with negative images all day, every day, such as movies that show blood everywhere from killings like this movie Ninja Assassin, or sex content like this movie back in the day called Weird Science, or people lying and cheating as a form of fun like this movie called Liar, Liar. And I'm going to show you guys those things. So the mind, this whole concept I said earlier is referred to the Patadak called the mind's eye. And we're going to go over that Patadak. And keep in mind, this is something the master teacher always taught us, right? Mind your mind for the jewel of your soul. And so we use the word mind like a miner who's digging. This is why we teach this, to dig into your mind. This is about deep meditation, deep concentration techniques. And someone asked me that question before, whether or not we use that word. And here's a part to that. I want to show you guys this for those who had questions about that. This Patadak here is called the prism. So for those who have it, the prism, and if you look at the back, the very last page of the prism, you'll see right on the bottom says mind. See that spelling? Mind your mind for the jewels of your soul. And the master teacher he was saying this, back, in the 90s, he was telling us this. He's been teaching us, but the key word here is that word mind, M-I-N-E. So this is the ultimate goal of developing yourself, right, in your mind's eye. Now, getting back to how the media tried to poison the mind's eye. So for instance, here's this movie, The Ninja Assassin, right? Now, this is a little bit graphic. So I just want to kind of warn you. But this is what they do to poison the mind's eye. They put these images in our minds. So check this out.
The fuck is that? Looks like a ninja, boss. A ninja? Are you kidding me? That's the word you're afraid to say? Ninja? Ninja. There you are. You got me going. That's some good shit.
Now ask yourself, is that necessary for them to do that? No. They're doing that on purpose, right? And they do that to put these kind of images in the mind's eye, you know, and that's how they use the media. And our children are watching these things, and we're being seduced. This is why from generation to generation, our people have gotten worse. We've been degenerating because these are kind of images they've been seducing us with. Here's another movie called Liar, Liar, right? This is starring what's the guy's name? Jim Carrey. That's right. I'm sorry. The whole movie's about he lies for a living, right? He's a lawyer, and just this. That's just what they do. They make it seem so comfortable to be lying. But listen to this scene real quick.
You look like you're having a rough morning.
Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for her, Johnny?
Fletcher.
Dana.
All right, Samantha. How much will it take to put an end to all this?
Now, the problem, let me just set it up. His son had made a wish because he's always lying, right? So his son made a wish for his birthday that for one day he hopes that his father just won't tell no lies. Now, his father being a lawyer, that's what he does for a living. And because his son made the wish, it was impossible for him to lie, you know, for this particular day. So listen to this.
50% of your estate.
50%? With a prenup and proof of adultery? What's your case?
Our case is simply this.
So he was going to lie, but he can't lie.
Very funny, Fletcher. You want to play hardball? I'm game.
You want to be hardball? I'm game.
What are you doing? What is wrong with you?
All rise for the Honorable Judge Marshall Stevens.
Good morning. Call case number BD 09395, Samantha Cole versus Richard Cole. How are we doing this morning, Consul?
Fine, thank you.
And you, Mr. Reed?
I'm a little upset about a bad sexual episode I had last night.
Well, you're still young. It'll happen more and more. In the meantime, what do you say we get down to business? First, Mr. Reed, I see where your client...
Your Honor, I would like a continuance.
This case has already been delayed several times, Mr. Reed.
I realize that, Your Honor, but I would really, really, really like a continuance.
I'll have to hear good cause, Consul. What's the problem?
I can't lie.
So again, as you can see, you know, he wants to lie, and because his son made that wish, it was impossible for him to tell a lie. So he can't do his job as a lawyer. And this is what's seducing our people. We don't realize how all of this stuff is affecting us. You know, here's another one, the last one. This is a movie that came out in the 80s called Weird Science, and about teenage boys creating a female, you know, as a sex object. Check this out.
Very nice. Tell you what, I mean, if there's one thing I know, it's female stats. I mean, anything bigger than a handful, you're risking a sprain tongue, you know, and yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, that one.
Now keep in mind who this movie is targeting. It's targeting teenagers. And we're wondering why we have a society that's dealing with, all these rape allegations and molestation allegations. And this is the basis of this culture where, they make things that are that, as we used to teach in the Quran, it teach that the evil one makes evil fair seeming, as if it's fun or okay to do, and when none of that stuff is not. It degenerates the minds of the people. But this is their form of entertainment. And why do they do it? They do it to mess up the mind's eye. So you're dreaming about these things, you're visualizing these things, you're fantasizing these things. That's the whole goal. It blocks your mind's eye. That's why we can't. It makes it almost impossible for us to develop ourselves, because keep in mind, this stuff is programmed into us as children. We were being programming with this kind of this stuff through the media, whether it be the movies and cartoons and the music we listen to, and correct, Allison, the video games. All of that stuff is about programming and putting images and thoughts into the mind. And that's what's blocking us from developing ourselves spiritually. So, keep that in mind. So now, question, is there a problem with being ignorant of the nature of the mind's eye? Answer, yes. The mind's eye is also known as the spiritual eye, aka energy eye. The mind's eye, if not used by the individual, can then be used by spirit beings that project images into a person's mind that are either real or illusion made to seem real. Refer to the actual facts, number 29. That's the book we put out called Reflections and Projections, go into that particular subject matter. Now we're going to say people's spiritual ignorance opens them up to many forms of mental deceptions that are the root cause of why people harm themselves or others. Spirit beings have the power to project images into people's mind's eye that creates fear, doubt, frustration, lust, anxiety, love, hope, beliefs, pain, and so much more that motivates people's actions and deeds. Question: is there a way to prevent the mind's eye from being used by negative spirit beings? Yes. Knowledge of self. It is people's ignorance of the knowledge of self that spirit beings are able to use against us. Spirit beings can only possess bodies of those who are spiritually ignorant. We must learn the nature and purpose of spirit beings in order to have a defense against possession, which is the purpose of the teachings of Wu-Sabat. Sabians are the only people who have a complete doctrine for dealing with spirit beings, guys. We're the only ones that's really out there, at least in the Black community, that's explaining this stuff in detail. No one else is teaching this, guys. I see. Okay. Question: how is it that we as African people are so spiritually ignorant? Answer: we as an African people lost our spiritual knowledge 6,000 years ago due to the changing cycle and seasons of nature. For the past 6,000 years, we have been living in what is called the moon cycle, which gives power to 6 ether spirit forces that puts us as Africans, who are the children of 9 ether forces, at a disadvantage. Living on a planet being ruled by 6 ether spirits made our downfall certain over time, which is why we are in our lowly position now. Keep in mind, we are dealing with invisible spirit beings as well as visible children of these spirit beings, aka the Mukasu race, as well as black devils who are possessed by these spirit forces due to our 6,000 years of race mixing. Question: are you saying that we also are dealing with black people who are possessed by these spirit forces? Yes. This is why Panabab Yannanen wrote a book called Are There Black Devils? He wrote this book to educate us about the nature and behavior of black devils so that we would be on the lookout for them. These are the black people who love Mukasu culture ways. Porn, their music, poison foods. They dress like or try to look like the Mukasu. They kill for them as cops or soldiers. Worship their gods. Love working for them to make money. These are black people who want nothing to do with their African ancestry. They are full of anger, love to fight, lie, cheat, steal, gamble, party. They love all the bad habits they learned from living with the Mukasu, and they do not care to change. And that's the key point, guys. They're not interested in changing when you're trying to help them or teach them to be better. Those are the individuals you have to be mindful of. They justify that behavior. You guys, you understand? So let's keep going. Question: how do we fight these negative spirit forces all around us? Answer: the first step to fighting these spirit forces is to acknowledge their existence. Refer to are there black devils? Let's look at that on page 369. Let's see. He goes on to say here. Okay. This is page 369 on the book Black Devils, and it says, the devil is in your genes, and you have to perform your own exorcism to get it out by first realizing it within you and knowing that it's real. You have to know and realize when the devil is ruling you, when he makes you think wicked and evil things. Refer to Genesis chapter 6, verse 5. The devil works by pity. You become a pitiful person. That is the game. He plans the whole thing out. He knows how to get to everyone's weak side. You have to say to yourself, you are not getting me no more. I know what you're trying to do. I call it the winds of sentiments, right? So these are spirit forces that the master is trying to explain, that you guys have to identify these forces inside you, putting these thoughts in your mind's eye and causing you to continue to make these bad habits. That's why we're slaves to it, right? He goes on to say, you should go out and use this scroll as a study guide to teach those that don't know any better. Beware of the black devils who are amongst you. They can be more treacherous than the Caucasian devil. They serve their own father, Satan, and only seek to deceive you. Refer to 1 John chapter 4, verse 1, and it says, beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are going out into the world. In other words, test the spirits. This is necessary to do because when the devils realize that you can be deceived, then he tries to get you other things, right? They are still doing their job to get the seed of Eve and turn you to his evil ways. No more can these so-called black revolutionists or so-called Africans try to make you think that the Caucasians are the most devious devils, when in actuality, the original devils was the black devil. Okay, and that's something we talk about. The Asiatic black man were the original devils, and that's a whole subject all to itself. But the point being is how we get deceived by these spirit forces inside of us. And we're just using the word devil because that was the Bible terminology for spirit beings, guys. So keep that in mind. Or human beings that are possessed by these negative spirit forces, aka Leviathan. So let's keep going. Okay, so now it says you must realize that all your bad habits come from the spirits within you, pass on from your ancestral bloodline who love the culture of the Mukasu. These family spirits within are the cause of your lowly desires that seem to bind you to this negative, destructive culture. Spirits are intellect. whose goal is to put thoughts in your mind which influence you to make decisions that feed their desire for pleasure or pain. Spirits will feed on a body until it decays, aka death, and then move on to another host. Negative spirits affect the host body's brain to reduce intelligence so that the host will not learn to develop the knowledge in order to exercise these spirit forces. This is why we teach all students of Wu-Sabat that they must do rituals each and every day in order to keep the negative spirits within at bay. Question: are there other things I should be focused on other than spirit forces? No. Regaining your spiritual knowledge is the most important thing in your life. Every part of your life is influenced by spirit forces inside and all around you. To ignore this reality has been the downfall of our race. Human beings are incarnated spirit beings. So every action and deed of humans, whether good or bad, are influenced by spirit forces, and people's ignorance to this reality aids negative spirits to get away with their evil deeds each and every day. Your ignorance is not bliss. Only right knowledge of the nature of spirits will give you the power to open your third eye so that you can use your spirit power for the forces of good rather than you being used by sixth ether in your ignorance, which feeds the cultures of Leviathan. Once you regain your spiritual powers, then you will restore your sound right reasoning, which will give you the knowledge of how to overcome the six ether forces that are ruling our people. Remember, knowledge rules ignorance. Guys, so now I want to go into the actual Patarat that this discussion is based around, right? The Patarat, the mind's eye. Okay. Lightbringer. When we say devil, we're talking about negative spirit forces, right? So we did a lot of discussions on that. So I always recommend people to look at a lot of our previous videos that we deal with spirit beings, because this is the issue. Our people are ignorant to spirit beings. So when the Bible talks about the devil, really they're talking about negative spirit forces. That is extremely important for people to be aware of. That's what we mean by devil. So keep in mind, that's just a biblical term, okay? But it's really talking about spirit forces. But let me go on with this Patarat. Okay. It says Lekum. My beloved Nawap-u, Kharat-u, Nawapian children of Wu Nawap, about the sin of Tayaf, ghosts, or Ka'u, spirits, specters, or Etherians. I, Pandabab Yananun, have spoken much only to warn you of the dangers of those who use jasad, flesh, and demand blood to attract disembodied Ka'u, spirits, in their religions or rituals. For you, Nawab-u, to know the best way to contact your relatives who link you to your Salafu ancestors, Panatharu. Many people claim they see Ka'u, spirits of the dead. Many people claim they see disembodied beings. Many people claim they see ghosts. Many people claim they see Nasabu, relatives. Many people claim they see religious figures. Many people claim they see ancient Egyptians, the Natharu. Many people claim they see angelic beings. Many people claim they see demons. Many people claim they see extraterrestrials. Most see all these according to what they fear or believe. If they belong to a religion, note it's always from their own faith what they experience. Christians always see what they accepted from the New Testament. Satanists always see what they accepted from Satanism. Yoruban and Santeria always see what they accepted in Yoruba. Muslims And their Sufis always see what they have accepted, their Quran and Sunnah or Hadith and sayings of Islamism. Israelites or Hebrews or Jews will always see what they accept in their Old Testament, the Torah, and other Jewish records of Talmudic traditions and other books they believe in. The same for Hindus or Buddhists or Zoroastrians or Baha'i or Rastafarians or Confucius or Native American shamans, and the same with all religious and religious beliefs, and also with those that believe in ETs. They all will claim to see what they have accepted in their belief systems, many out of fear of death, many out of fear of the afterlife, many out of cinema, books, or things they experience in this world. Some even have created in the mind's eye things to see, monsters and the likes. You see, all you hear, all you experience or created in your mind's eye becomes real to you. You store these images in your subconscious mind. You are able to retrieve them at will, like an undeveloped film or file in your subconscious mind. You will pull them up and process them as real, when they could have been only a dream or an exaggeration in a dream state, or a fear or trauma or terror in an awoke state. Something or someone frightened you, and your mind's eye exaggerates it into what you think you saw or felt. That is stored in the subconscious mind as a real event or thing. It becomes real in your mind as time and space is reality, when in fact you created them in your mind's eye. A person may see in or with the mind's inner eye a vision or a dream or frightened cinema, then later see a ghost or spirit or specter or ET while you are awake with your eyes open. Your ears are clear for sound or touch, and you really think you see this thing. You have processed your vision from your mind. For you see, in order to see, you must use your brain as well as your eyes. Light in the form of shape or form and colors enter your eyes. The light is reflected from the object that enters the cornea of the eye. There it is refracted, which is bent, as it goes through the pupil and through the iris or lens of the eye. The refraction causes the rays of light to cross within the eye. When the rays cross, the image of the objects are inverted or turned upside down and projected off the retina. That projected light or radiant energy is then turned into chemical energy by the retina. Therefore, the light or image is reversed, upside down, projected to a screen inside your head behind your eyes connected to nerves. This image sends a message to the brain, and the brain computes what is on that screen as then reverses it upright and projects it outside back at the image of what it is as it was when first perceived. Yet you see it as you think of it or remember it the way you feel about it. If you fear a thing as a child, you may look at an unknown adult you see as a giant before you. You don't remember. That is recognized, so you become frightened. The person may not mean you any harm, yet you created what you needed to protect your body. Or an animal such as a dog may look like a monster to you if you don't recognize it and saw its teeth. You then store this image in your subconscious mind, in your mind's eye, or he or it was a giant monster. Once you go to the subconscious world of dreams, you recreate this monster, part man and part dog. You have a werewolf, and now it's chasing you with great big teeth. Where did this come from? It was stored in parts over time in your mind's eye. the subconscious world of dreams. Yet, Nuwapians remember how the eye actually works. Once you receive an image of light, you process it and then project it back out of the eyes as an image. You can do this while awake and from your own creation, from that file of undeveloped images with your own construction of them and how you want them to see. Then project them outward. That is not even here yet, is a projection of your subconscious file of images with emotions to become what you want to see, such as your Jesus or an angel or a relative or a demon, all created by you and projected from inside out, and you really think you see it. This is religious spookism I speak of. Most created by fear, God, or are just going to be tortured in hell's fire forever once you die. Inner or outer visions projected outward from dreams or experiences while asleep or awoke. This is what happens in most religious experiences because they don't want facts or confirmations. They walk by faith and not sight. They are willing to look yet not touch. In visions or dreams or reality, you see spirits or specters. It can be real or not. Most of this is happening right inside your mind's eye, inside of you. It's your own experience. It's real to you. Why most are alone when they see things or experience things, even if it appears to be outside of you. That is because the brain can project images back out of the eyes that seem real because to the brain, they are real, yet only you see them. Now, this can be done by the 27 spirits inside of you. I say 27 and not 30 because minus you, one less is 29. If your two parents are still alive in this physical world, then it's minus 2 more from the 30. So 3 minus 30 equals 27 spirits that exist in your genes, your own relatives. They can affect your thinking, your moods, your health, your actions, your dreams, your visions. Spirit or spirits within at work, evil or good beings, once you live in flesh. Many wish to use your flesh to please their own emotions lost. It can be deception or guidance. Yet they don't come from out of this dimension. They are here, many trapped here by their lusts of this world. So once they died, they are trapped here, yet can't feel it's a form of hell to them. So they seek to use others' bodies. The easiest way is when a person is intoxicated or drunk with strong emotions of anger, jealousy, hate, or lusting. These emotions open this dimension to the underworld of this same dimension. The 9 lower gates, and people in those states have walk-ins and become possessed. Do things in those states they would never have done if their conscious mind was not subdued by intoxicants or a rush of emotions. Guys, this is why we teach, don't get drunk, right? Don't do things that messes up your consciousness, because that's the easiest way you get possessed. But let's keep going. Another is outside persuasion, as in to join a group or like a uniform, a military or police force, law enforcement, and you are persuaded to kill for them. So you can come under this effect. Sleep or awake, you can lose self-control by persuasion or possession. It's all affecting your inner being by forces other than yourself. This is why Wu-Sabat teaches you to know your own voice, know your own tones from those of your ancestors to prevent whispers from whispering to you suggestions. Things you would never have done, you did because of these emotions of suggestions from the 27 spirits inside, or evil people outside who use others to do their evil, like governments. They use pleasures such as pornography. The effect it has is transforming one's mind and affect their physical body to react. This same thing happens in persuasion by inside and outside visions, such as how a commercial makes you want to spend money you don't have by watching others you seem to be having fun, or who seem to be having fun or pleasures makes you want the same. So you go to them or where they gather for this, and it may not be safe or healthy, yet you begin to partake of that dimension or world of whatever. It affects your soul and your body. You see an attractive person, they attract you. You don't see them inside, only the outside attract you into their world. This can be a so-called friend who says, let's go there. Let's try this. Here, take this or drink this, smoke this. You are affected for life by that one act. So it happens from both inside you and outside of you. Your good relatives or Salafu ancestors only wish to help you. This is the voice that says, don't go, don't do this or that, stay away from him or her. Then physical desires takes over your divine being and you submit to your pleasures. Or you are stronger willed and say, no, I pass, not me. This is our inner powers at work. Yet it all originates right here or within you. Some people look outside only, or at other worlds they read about or made up, taught by the very evil ones who teach all lies by their religions. There is no power greater than you, for all things move about you because you are the center of your universe. And because of your connection to the sun, if you no longer existed on the planet, all the planets would be pulled into the sun and cause a star holocaust due to the balancement you bring to the solar system. Guys, this is the power of us being melanated children of the sun as a black race. This is why they can't, the master always taught us, that's why they can't get rid of us, because if they was to get rid of us, it'd throw off the balance of this whole solar system, guys. So keep that in mind. It goes on to say, all else is unrealistic, unfounded, and this is unreasonable, a result of ignorance and religious superstitions, or superstitions found in their Bibles and Quran on spookism, faith, belief, fictions, myth, illusions, lies of liars, Celtics, Wiccan of druids, and their undercover witchcrafts and sorcery. The result of their religions is a feeling of emptiness, lack of answers that pervades the brain and the mind's eye, makes you a believer. This does and can affect what you think, you feel, and see. It comes from your need to know before you die, to know why and how and where. That constitutes your inner need to really understand existence now and forever. And this affects your proper care of your mental state of mind and affects your physical health, how you see this world from your eyes to your mind and memory. So the kind of imagery, fictions, and fears taught to you affects your whole life. When you accept a God concept, yet don't stop to question the logic of it, it is logical that a God or deity acts his creation to kill for him, acts his creation to obey only him, acts his creation to steal from others for him, acts his creation to offer things to him or them. A God who claims to have all power over all things and persons and animals, yet he will judge. Why would we have to judge? Why would he have to judge what he already knows? Why let his creation go bad, do evil, hate, fight, war, lie, or steal? If he controls all things, then he can change sins to good, evil to good, devils to good angels in a blink of an eye. Why doesn't he or they? Where is your logic in this matter as you fight over which race was Jesus or Yeshua or Isa, you call him? First find out, did their form of Jesus ever exist, or Abraham? You don't even know if they really existed. Their bones have not been found to date. In fact, every year near the Christmas holiday, there is a new discovery about Jesus. The latest is the discovery of the Coptic fragment that Jesus says, "my wife." However, who is that person really? Who is this Jesus? Jesus is not Coptic or a Coptic name. You see, they keep the character and create a new story around the character in an attempt to give him authenticity. You claim them as to which race they were. Is this logical when you have not proven a Jesus ever existed? You being persuaded to fight a fruitless fight of their fictions and myths and legends and lies. The same with all their other lies in their Bible and Quran: monsters, demons, devils, dragons, fish people, unicorn, half goat, half man, giant, and the list is long from their God. And all of this stuff is in their Bible, guys, that our people believe in. And it's in their cinema, their movies. So whether you follow their religions, we follow their culture. And all of this is programmed into our mind's eye. That's what the master is trying to put out there, right? So let's keep going. You choose to avoid Wu-Sabat, facts for fictions, faith, and replace with faith, foolishness, nonsense in place of truth. Wu-Sabat is here to eliminate the lies of the liars. It's the nonsense of religions of Celtics races that is another imaginary fallacy in the minds of Nagado Salau, the African race or people. You see, open people such as Nagado or trusting people seem to love and prefer lies, mythology, fiction, spookism, and mystery over reality, and confirmations over truth, things they can touch. They seem to love myths such as what the Bible and Quranic religions teach, and in many others, be they in books, cinema, or TV, or religion, right? Black people, they say, are the most religious people on earth. For whatever reason, we love these belief systems. And it's really hard to get our people out of them. This is the master teacher trying to explain. We love myths for some reason. Millions of our people don't want to get away from these religions. They rather deal with belief systems than facts. This is our biggest challenge, right? That we're dealing with. He goes on to say, the spookier, the better. The more supernatural, mysterious, mystical, mystified, the more Nagados seem to attract to it over reality and things that reason out. Myth, as in mystical religions, have a way of fascinating Nagado. That's how they keep getting spellbound year after year as the master deceiver comes up with more tricks and cinema. Now, horror films are viewed on 3-dimensional TV, surround sound, deceptions of the devil to work on your mind, to feed off of your fears. They also need you to raise your vibration level for them to pass on to different dimensions using you to reach here. They cannot, because of their frequency is different from ours, guys. So one of the things that the spirit forces are doing, the reason why they want us to tune into their life and get emotional from their culture, because as we get possessed, right, they're able to raise their vibration off of our emotions. You know, that's really important, guys, that we become aware why these spirits and why the Mokasu has this type of culture set up, because the spirit forces, they feed off our energy, and being that we're Nagado and we're melanated, we have a very high frequency. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why they need us as Africans. Okay. And so that's really important. Let's keep going. Says they constantly pump their image, their voices, their tones to cause you to shift, so you will not make the dimensional shift, as they will not, being they have downgraded their DNA by mixing with animals, right? So guys, this is the whole making a dimensional shift. You have to raise your vibration. Okay. We're going to get into the details about, you know, because we're in a time shift right now. And this is a new cycle we're in, and we have to learn how to raise our vibration. But this culture is keeping us keeping our cycles low, keeping our energies low. Our people are not even in tune with their own spirit energy. That's why I put on that video in the beginning of our discussion here with the Chinese guy. He's trying to talk about the energy of the body. We're supposed to be in tune with that energy that the Chinese call qi, and we call it sechem. But we're not even aware that this energy exists, guys. Okay, let's keep going. Yet you, Nuwapians, are awoke. Now you see the games being played on the minds of your own race. Yet it's very hard to wake up the dead. You were only asleep. Most of them are dead. You had enough insight or inner vision or intelligence, or some of those 27 telling you inside wake up time has come. Pa Munzar, the warner, has incarnated. You heard my voice and knew that is the warner. So you are escaping the spell of ignorance or sleep. Pa Nawam, by way of Wunawap, our way of life. You are facing the facts, the real world. The dead follow the dead. The living follow those who are alive. You are alive. Use your mind. You no longer seek to be unrealistic. Your idols are of your own. Your models are of your own. Your idea of worship is your own image. Your morals are guided by your own holy scriptures. This Patarat revealed to you for you. You gave up impractical, out of reach goals laid out by the Kakasu, not your race. Things you can accomplish as an African. They create false hopes. You have a real way of life and culture. You come from the best and richest part of this planet Earth, Africa, as an African. Right, guys? So those who accept Wu-Sabat, the master's trying to explain, you're moving into the world of reality as opposed to the world of illusion and fiction and belief. Because our people, all they do is chasing money, guys. They're constantly chasing the Mukasu's money. And that's their biggest downfall. We don't need their wealth. We have our own wealth, guys. We don't need their wealth. We have our own wealth. Once we realize our own power within to work of, for, and by each other. But let's keep going. Yeah, I see. I'm gonna get to your questions, guys. As soon as I'm done, I'm almost done. He goes on to say, you were misplaced, so it seemed you were nothing and no one until Wunawap found you sleep and you woke and woke you to what and who you really are, the gods of all other races. No more mental frustration and physical depression. You are owners of this planet and should enjoy the best things it offers you. All you need to do is accept Wunawap as a Nuwapu. Speak Nuwapu. We always speak Musbatia, we say. Live by Patarat. That is your reality. Use your own powers. Fear no one or nothing. Protect your own. Forgive none who hurts us, forgetting nothing they did to us. It's our turn to rule. We will not forget. We will not forgive. This is the way of nature. This is our way. No more poor and miserable conditions for our race that affects our lives and families. No more begging of others. We do for self and kind. And this means from the year 2000, we as a race must learn to use our powers and resources to solve our own problems and stop looking to other races and their spirits to save our race. Nagado. Seeking their aberrations they place in our mind's eye over the past 6,000 years. They're ghosts, holy or unholy phantoms or spooks or specters. They're dead spirit beings, six ether. They will not and cannot help you. You have your own. Seek your own. Our spirit beings are already among us and have been all the time. You just rejected them for the Kakasu or Arabu, Arab spook gods and ghosts. Nuwapu is plural beings, Wu-Nupu, Asa-Nupu, and Naba-Nupu, males and females, not their God. In fact, God is from German, which is gut or gut or goya and means good ghost or holy ghost or Holy Spirit. It's still ghosthood. What is good ghost for them we see as evil. They go to church and pray to their good God, then go out and kill other races. That's their good God or Holy Ghost or Gad, they say. So they use this word God to hide their evil actions world over. Now he is in other languages as Yahweh or Jah or El or Elohim or El Shaddai or Elion or El Rab or Allah or Alihat or Anu or Ilu or Al or God or Lord or Jesus or Messiah or angels. The list goes on and on. You name it, they call it. It's ghosthood. They put them inside your mind over the years, and now you can project them out and think they are real. Now it's time to make real contact with your own relatives, linked to your ancestors, linked to Panatharu, without any interference from their evil 60th specters or your own evil relatives, or who they exchange their DNA with during their lifetimes, that over the 27 by far. So he's talking about how our ancestors, especially disagreeable ancestors in our bloodline, who connected with other people and they took on their spirit forces, negative spirit forces, all those things possess us. And we have to learn how to overcome all of that bad energy in our DNA. That's what our doctrine is trying to teach you guys, how to overcome these spirit forces inside you. And that's what's blocking us from making contact with our higher 9 ether spirit forces. Because most of our people who claim to be spiritual, I said this before, they're mainly contacting 6 ether forces, and they don't realize the difference between the 6 ether spirits in their DNA and the 9 ether spirit forces. And keep in mind, the 6 ether spirits deal with deception. So they're going to trick them, lie to them, do all kinds of things to keep them deceived so that they won't know how to make contact with the 9 ether forces. Because if you're in contact with the 9 ether forces, the 9 ether spirit forces will tell you how to overcome the Mukasu. So any black person who claims to be so spiritual, if they don't have a strategy to overcome racism, white supremacy, then they're not doing nothing. Keep that in mind, guys. So let's keep going. You must learn to reach the good without any interference by any beings, right? And to know when you are projecting images from your subconscious mind through your mind's eye, and your imagination is at work because of their fictions, myth, and legends, guys. So as you're developing yourself spiritually, you know you'll learn the difference between illusion and reality. Because our people don't understand the difference between seeing visions that are more illusionary versus real visions that they're in contact with. You guys have to learn the difference. And you can only learn that and know that as you're developing yourself spiritually, guys. Let's keep going. Only Wu-Sabat will put you on the right track. All existing beings exist in the same state if they relate to each other. All spirits vibrate on the same state and is in a space or a part of space. He's talking about of each race. So every race are connected to their spirit force because they all, you guys vibrate on the same race, right? On the same, same frequency. So like, because we're African, we wouldn't be contacting the Mukasu spirits. That's why people are calling on their spirits in the church and they're not getting their help, and because they're calling on the wrong spirits. It's not going to help you. You go to China, you call on Chinese spirits, ain't going to help you. You got to learn how to make contact with our spirit forces. Our people don't know the difference. Let's keep going. All spirits vibrate on the same rate and is in a space or part of a space, right? Space can exist without form because it has existed. It is as such can be without form as nothingness yet exists before hydrogen becomes something or the sum of a thing. So existence was before form, as you know, material, be it atoms or cells, such as atom. And being there was existence before materials had it had its own space or time or continuance. And being it could exist before material things as nothing material things would never have or had to be. It was choice made by pre-material, a form of consciousness without form. Guys, the master was talking about we existed as consciousness in the blackness. That's what he's saying. Before material things manifested, we existed as consciousness in blackness. That's what he's trying to explain here. Let's keep going. An eternal form in an eternal space and consciousness. So if there is no consciousness that exists as an eternal form of existence, there would be no physical material existence. So life does exist after physical death and can exist beyond physical time. So Akahu, the Etherians or etheric beings, don't live by your time. So past and present and future is the same, the etheric existence. So etheric beings have their own space. They are not restricted to any one place at any one moment, not trapped by place or person or thing. As such, can be in a place or a person or even a thing such as a statue, a person's body, or be trapped in place. So he's talking about spirit beings, especially our spirit forces, or have they're not trapped by time or location, guys. They exist within space and they can move from dimension to dimension. It's one of the things he's always taught us. But let's keep going. He goes on to say, that is after a person dies, if she or he is not linked to their own spirit ancestor or etheric ancestors, they can be trapped and will experience a form of hell over and over, to repeat the act of their death over and over at the exact same time in this physical space and time and material world. Those linked to their ancestors, Achahu, the etheric being, cannot be trapped once they stop breathing, guys. So those, once you learn, you develop yourself spiritually and you learn how to connect with your spirit, your higher spirit forces, you won't be trapped once you transition. He's trying to say, once you die, you can make it, you can move into the higher dimensions. That's why we teach what we teach, so that you learn how to transition. That's what we call the second resurrection. When you physically die, you're able to make contact. First resurrection is that you make contact before you physically die. That's our ultimate goal, guys. And we're going to do discussions on that. But he goes on to say, their etheric relatives linked to them come for them, being attracted by their etheric cord opened by chanting, prayers, and rituals, right? So the rituals is what connects you to your spirit forces. This cannot change or be changed because it is nothingness. Yet it gives birth and transform into something, as does ether, one to hydrogen, one to helium 2. It's done by emotions to movement or energy in motion. The unmovable moved. Once it becomes atomic energy, a new kind of existence, right? So he's saying, because we're connected, we share the same spirit vibrational force of our ancestors who exist on the higher dimensions. When you're doing the rituals, that's how you connect with them, guys. So keep that in mind. So nothing can separate that if you're in tune with that. He goes on to say, so it facilitates movement, as does ghost as gas or ether in all material things. And in that state can attract germs to form cells or organisms to become physical or incarnate into physical form from etheric form. Because actual space itself cannot move, yet detects any movement, and in space first as vibration, then shadow figures, then spirit form you see as ghosts. A finite universe of space is also expands and can eternally expand to become universe finite out of infinite existence, out exists as. This is all, everything and nothing, and think that exists within it. True space is nu or noon or noontat as ahnun. Space is also the way of being absolute in the positive, represents the material perfection of atum, of beings and things in nature as Natharu. So again, he's talking about how we exist in the blackness of space, guys. And being that we exist in the blackness of space, and from space, creation manifests, we're able to go from dimension to dimension. We're not trapped by any location. That's what he's trying to, explain. But let's keep going. Absolute space is positive before negative existed. Out of Khather Mukwam at the multiverse is born each Wahu Mukwam, the universe, movement of the unmovable, its supreme balancement, blackness, and blackness is the only perfect being, Atum, and absolute space or absolute state. Chamem, black, is in fact not a color, it's a condition, a state of nature. All colors were born out of blackness. Lawan, color is an adjective, that is, agitate blackness to become a mood or black of blackness, an agitated thing or hydrogen to helium. So, so by fiction, the sun is born, which is Atum, and its secret is hidden in its nature as energy, hydrogen 1 to become helium 2. The secret of creation is hidden in that act, the hidden nature, Amun. Amun is spent energies as sound and thought, Ahnun to Tum, to Atum, to Atun, to Amun. So come light fictions, chaos, matter, out of supreme balancement, blackness. Where physical light is absent, so evil is absent. For light, white light is evil. Light hides inside of darkness as all colors hide inside black until friction brings about a spark of evil light. All this is recorded in your mind's eye, guys. You were there, which is here when it all happened to happen. So you listen, and from darkness, when the Kharabu, the cherubim, was asked, let there be light. And he saw it was good go. So guys, he's trying to say we as black people, as Nagato, children of the sun, we existed in the blackness. We come from the blackness that grew the universe itself. And this is what we have to learn how to tap back into our spirit force. And that's why we talked about this last week, how they focus on making us afraid of the dark. And they put these images in the mind's eye to create illusions. And we must learn how to tell the difference between illusions and reality. And the only way you can learn to do that is by developing yourself spiritually. That's our whole objective. That's the whole purpose. And that's why we're, on the subject matter, guys. So that's important. Okay. So as far as any questions, we'll try to address. I hope this helped. And both the mind's eye and dimensional shift are complicated material to get through. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Capre, he says both the mind's eye and the dimensional shift are complicated material to get to. Yeah, because I think because this information it's connected to many things the master has taught us over the years. And for those individuals who are not familiar with the doctrine, the extensiveness, all the things the master teacher has taught us, it can get confusing. That's why I try to go through these things to try to make them clear, to try to help people understand what we're trying to teach. Because, I know a lot of people probably having a hard time with a lot of the stuff that we're saying, and so that's why it's important that it's very important that you guys ask questions, that y'all keep asking questions, because that's what's going to help. It's not going to just help you, but it's going to help others who are also trying to figure this out, So if you guys ask me detailed questions from the lessons, right, this will help stimulate everyone's mind, because we're all on the same journey towards, resurrection. We're all trying to develop ourselves spiritually. So the more questions you ask, the more you guys participate, it's going to help everybody, guys. So keep that in mind. So let me go back. I'm just looking through any kind of questions you guys might have asked earlier. It says Lilia Moon, let's say question says, if you have a disagreement with a person and think negative, should you skip prayer for the day to avoid negative forces? That's a good question. That's a good question. Okay, so here's the thing, right? We always talk about you don't want to be doing prayers in the negative mind. You don't want to be doing prayers in the negative mind. So how do you get yourself out of the negative mind? This is why we put out the book, the breath book, guys. You see this? We put out the breath book. You have to learn negative. When you talk about negative mind or negative energy, in essence, what you're doing is you're flooding your body with negative or disruptive energy. I don't know if it's actually bad to even say negative energy, because actually there's no real such thing. Energy is positive and negative. You need both forces in order for you to exist. But really what negative energy, what we really mean by that is decaying and disruptive energy, which is a little bit different. Okay. And so when you get in what we call the negative mind, you get destructive energy, and it puts you in a chaotic state. And so you have to do certain rituals to put you back in a harmonious state. And that's why the master teacher put out the breath book, right? Learning these breathing techniques, also doing certain types of exercises, Tai Chi, yoga, going for a walk. All of those things will help recalibrate you. Drink water. That's one of the first things you want to do, is drink water, right? Drink water, because water is what? It's a connector for electricity. When you're in a negative state and when you get angry, your energy has been disrupted. Water will help reconnect you, right? And so you also want to clear your mind of the thoughts. Think happy thoughts whenever you get in your negative. Now, that's another exercise you guys need to learn. You need to write down, right? What is the happiest moment in your life? What is some of the most happy experiences you have? You need to write that down, and you need to project that image in your mind. And so whenever you get into a negative state, right, you can learn to pull that image of happiness in your mind so that you can convert that negative energy to put you back in a harmonious state. Because that's your goal. You want to put yourself in a most harmonious state so that your energy can start flowing again. Because remember, negative energy disrupts the flow of energy. That's the key, guys. So I hope that helped. Let's see if there was anything else. Negative energy. Okay, right back. Says as the Most High. Who is the Most High in Wu-Sabat? Okay, Nanya L question. He says, well, bad. I'm studying. I'm on lessons or Om lessons. If it speaks on Elion L as the Most High, who is the Most High in Wu-Sabat? Okay, so when we say the Most High in Wu-Sabat, we talk about Re'eh, right? Re'eh is the Most High, the highest force. Or then we'll say the creative force is Pa'ut or Pa-Pa'ut. And when we say Pa-Pa'ut, we're talking about that blackness, because that's what we're trying to, the goal is to learn how to tap back into the blackness. So we're not using that Elion El, those are Hebraic terminologies and things that obviously come out of the Bible. But when we go back to ancient Kemet, they use the term Pa'ut, right? Which is the creative force of nature itself, right? And so those are the terminologies we use. So yes, you replace the old terminologies for the new terminologies. So again, you can say Re'eh, which means the sons. The sons are the creative creation forces throughout the multiverse, right? Re'eh, those are the Most High. Those are the most powerful forces in existence. The sons of the omniverse. And then the creative force itself, where the sons come from, and we come from Pa'ut, the blackness. And so you can also, call out to Pa'ut, the creative force. You have to visualize yourself in this blackness. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this. This used to happen to me when I was a child, right? And I lost this ability. But as a child, And the master talks about this, guys. And I don't know if it's happening to any of you, but when I used to be in blackness, right? It was as my mind was the whole room itself. My mind pervaded the whole space. And see, this is the problem with this culture. Because as children, I talked about this last week. Remember, children's third eye is basically activated from age 0 to age 7. You're operating what they call the alpha wave. The brain is operating on alpha wave. There's 4 brain waves that the scientists talk about. They talk about the delta waves. That's when the brain is asleep, right? The human is asleep, is in delta. Then they say theta. The theta waves is when you're like in a dream state or a highly, very, very deep meditated state, right? And then they call alpha waves. The brain has alpha waves, and that's like a light dream or a light meditated state. And that's the state that children are usually in. And then you have beta. That's when you're awake, when you're doing things. You have an active mind. That's in beta. And so now here's the thing. As a child, like I said, from age 0 to 7, you're usually in alpha state because you didn't develop the conscious mind yet, the mind of reasoning, right? So children are being moved by their spirit. And so I remember as a child, when I was in complete blackness, my mind, it was almost, it filled the whole room itself. Guys, this is we lost this ability because this culture taught us to be so physical, and all of our spiritual abilities just slowly drifted away. And you guys have to learn how to remember this, because like I remember as a child, you're sleeping, and then you get into this dream state, and it's like you're in this blackness, and it's like I was falling, and it felt like I was falling through the bed. And really what that was you're coming out of the body. You're literally separating from the body. But you don't know this, and no one is teaching what this is. And so you're trying to do everything in your power to stop that. This is the problem. These are the problems, man. Because we lost our spiritual knowledge, we're fighting. We're fighting things we're supposed to be developing, and we're not developing ourselves spiritually anymore. And that's what our culture is trying to teach or re-educate us about, right? So let's see, man. Right. So Akeem says, I went to meditate in a completely dark room, and I felt like my body disappeared. Right. Because you're becoming complete mind. You're becoming complete consciousness. That's the goal, guys. That's the goal, for us to tap back into that complete consciousness. Then you can learn how to leave the body at will. This is the ultimate goal. Then because that lets you know you're not bound by this dimension. You're not trapped by this dimension. We used to be able to move from one realm to another realm. We used to be in tune. We used to be able to do those things, and we lost this knowledge. And this is what we're striving to get back. This is the whole basis behind Wu-Sabat. The whole basis behind our doctrine and our teachings, to get us back into the darkness, into the blackness, into that creative force that the Mukasu spends all his time trying to get us into the light. That's their whole goal, to keep you in the light of this culture, the light of the cities, the lights, the shining, the brightness. And that's to keep us out of sync, out of tune, out of harmony with the creative force, out of sync or out of harmony with nature itself. And we used to be in harmony with nature. But our people are so focused on wanting stuff, material stuff, money, status, fame, whatever. They want the Mukasus, they want to be in the limelight. You know? Everyone is trying to be in the limelight. And in the process, they're losing their soul. As children of Wu-Sabat, we're not against having a good life. We're not against having wealth and living nice and living good. We just want to live nice and live good and have wealth under our conditions, not under another race of people's conditions who dictate to us about what wealth is and how we got to work for them, serve them. We as Africans were always wealthy. Guys, just look at ancient Kemet. We had all the wealth we can think of. In fact, the Mukaso admits that Mansa Musa of the Mayan Empire in the 1300s was one of the richest people in history. So we as an African people, we have wealth. We come from wealth. We just don't need to be seeking out the Mukasu's wealth. Guys, when we start working and supporting each other economically, our wealth will be restored. But we got to let go of the Mukasu's illusions in their world. That's the goal, right? Our people are so obsessed with their monetary system. We don't need it. We have our own. And we got to keep that in mind. We have our own. This is the ultimate goal, guys. And so, part of this discussion was the this other book right here. I'll address this just a little bit because we're at the end of our time. But the actual facts, number 29, which is reflections and projections, is dealing with the same subject matter, right? Being able to reflect and project certain types of images and certain types of forces, right? And so let's see. I wanted to go over something because the master talks about this. Well, you know what? Let me try to cover this real quick because I think this is very important. Okay, he goes on to say, "Lahe enkum aye munsa'u kharadu impanataru munwapu zi kawun wakut nunya." It says, "For you all, my helpers, children of the overseers, Nawapians, it is our time. You are khatat, body. You are ka'ah, spirit, solid, and gas. You originated as natu akak, ether, as chamemnus, blackness, to chamem, black. In the form of reason, you are the creative energy throughout fatar al-fatar, natural nature, in its entirety. And the word Etherian was originated from the root word ether and or burning, solvent of fatar, nature, making you Nagadna'u, Mukhmab'u, Egyptians, as such, you as Chamemnus, blackness, are endlessness in Fasa, space, Madad, material, and Wakut, time, in all directions, supreme balancement, Chamem Shaddaz, black magic, eternity, and infinity are other ways to say the same of you. Always was, always will be, as Buntaru, ones who overseers, your brothers, keepers. Undoubtedly, Nashat, energy in motion, is the creative ingredient of Tashar at emotions and material. See, guys, so he's saying the same thing, right? We come from the blackness. He's explaining, he's reiterating. He goes on to say, and Munwapu, Nawapians, it's that Tashar at emotions which cause imagery and ecstasy, which affect the mind, as well as creation and destruction, Ladud, birth, and Mawat, death. Nashat, energy, especially in the form of spirit beings, can be deceitful if not overstood by you. Many times a person sees or thinks they see a person or thing in a vision or a tayaf, ghost, shadow, or orb while they dream, or see a muntar, a specter, one who appears while they are wide sahar, awake with ayantwi, their eyes open. It can be what is being viewed is right inside of them, right? So you think you're seeing this on the outside, guys, and it's really a projection inside you, right? That's what we were saying before. Those are the spirits in you doing that. It's creating an illusion, is what he's really talking about. Let's go on to say, and experience a takus, a reflection inside outward, tabrus, a projection, although it may appear to be outside or projected outward or seem to originate outside their akal, mind, on its own. the Ka'a, the spirit or Ka'o spirits within are doing the work of deception. Your Manashu parents, your own 27 inner DNA spirits of both sides of your Yasar family. One or more can set out to Rashush, deceive you or other Ka'o spirits you welcome by opening up your Khatat body gate by way of desires or religions or beliefs of images of beings you believe exist. And the inner spirits are not from outside you or the world of the dead, yet right inside your mind, because you create them just as you do when you are dreaming. Your own relatives and the people, each of them took part in your Mudatet Raham womb. They entered by way of the blood into her placenta, which as a matrix has small openings to allow a flow in and out of it. So this is how he's talking about when a female is pregnant, and you're inside your mother's womb, the spirits are able to get inside the baby through the blood, right? Through the bloodline, because the spirits now is being transferred from your mother Tet into you. He goes on to say, your ancestors' blood flowed in your mother and grew with you in her womb and became part of you, even now passing on and affecting your mind and body and spirit. He goes on to say, and whomever exchanged body fluids with while they were alive in this physical world also entered their blood, DNA, and genes to affect your lives. The things they did to their bodies and desires in their lives, the things they were addicted to in their lives, all are passed on inside them from outside the womb. You yourself are affected by one less of the 30 spirits because you are the 30th personality. If your parents are still alive, that is 2 other personality or spirits less of the 29, and without you, that makes 27, right? If your grandparents are alive, then 25 spirits affect you. So guys, as long as when a family member, like your parents or grandparents, when they transition, those spirit forces transfer to you guys. Keep that in mind. When they transition, those spirit forces transfers to you. That's how we was able to keep link with our ancestors when they transitioned to higher dimensions, that we lost that knowledge. So keep that in mind. We used to know how to do these things and we forgot how to do these things. That's very important. Okay. Question, Light Bringer. He says, so manifesting you're saying is imagination? I don't think so. I actually had other people witness my manifestation. So if it's not real, how is it that others have seen it? No, you're misunderstanding me, Lightbringer. What I'm saying is you have to know the difference between illusion and what is reality. A lot of people don't know how to tell the difference between illusions that are projected to them versus reality dealing with real spirit beings. We don't know the difference. So I'm not saying that you're having an illusionary experience. What I am saying is that you have to know the difference between that which is real and that which is illusion. That's what we're trying to explain to our people, because so many of our people are trapped by illusionary spirit forces or illusions that are projected to them by spirits, where people say, I saw this, or I heard this, or I see that. And what they're seeing is real, meaning it's real to them, but it's not actually a reality that they're seeing. They're actually seeing an illusion and they can't tell the difference. It's like people, you can have a dream, right? You can have a dream and you actually think that dream is real until you wake up. So you thought it was real, but it was really illusions projected in your mind. And so what we're trying to teach is you have to know the difference between that which is real and that which is illusionary. And the only way you can learn to tell the difference is as you developing yourself spiritually. That's our goal. You have to develop yourself spiritually so you can tell the difference between that which is illusion and that which is real. Because our people don't know that there's a difference. And they don't know how to tell the difference. And that's what we're trying to teach. So keep that in mind, guys. So we're at the end, but this whole book kind of goes into that in detail, explaining how to tell the difference, how to develop yourself spiritually, and know the difference between that which is you're projecting that's real and that which you're projecting that's illusionary. Because our whole goal is to develop ourselves spiritually so you can learn to make contact with your higher spirit forces. But you have to know the difference between deceptions, illusions of the lower spirits, the 6 ether spirits, and the higher forces that you're really trying to make contact with. You must know the difference. That's what we're trying to teach in this lesson. And as I always say, guys, watch out lectures more than once. Right? That's very important. Watch these discussions more than once. I can't stress that enough. Watch these discussions more than once. Okay? And definitely spread the word. So we're going to time out. We're going to get into our prayers, our closing out prayers and chanting, which is very important. Unless anyone has any questions, I'll address it before I go into our closing out 9 o'clock prayers that we go through. Okay, guys. So for those who are familiar with our prayer system, you guys can follow us. I actually do it in our Lahaj, our language of Sabaic. We have the English translation there. Guys, remember, right? We do our prayers and rituals for the purpose of our spiritual development. So, because the whole goal is to raise your vibration. And all of these rituals are necessary for developing yourself spiritually, to learn to raise your vibration, because you got to learn to tap into your energy. That's why I played that video in the beginning, guys, of the Chinese guy talking about the energy flow through the body. You have to become in tune with it. And the rituals is what's designed to help you help you become in tune. That's why it's important to say the prayers in your language, which is based around tones, right? This is the key. So definitely keep that in mind. So we're going to get started. Abdul Bade Kala Namasat Wufako Amar Kasamun Shalil Pa'ut Pa Takyud Anuki Jawab Pa Ashuk Impa Pa'ut Wu Kala Ashuk Kawun Jawaf Neya Anuki Kasamun Impa Pa'ut Wu Pa Pa'ut Kawun Kasamun Im Neya Nakuk Wa Anuki Wahu Amar Pa Pa'ut Wu Pa Pa'ut Kawun Wahu Amar Neya Nakuk Kador Naju Amar Kasamun Impa Pa'ut Wu Khabu Amar Mushkasun Nakuk Kador Kawan Kala Pafaf Nakuk Daya Jawab Pa Pa'ut Amar Wase Amar Dayani Kawun Lake Bakui Jawab Pa Pa'ut Anuki Yabab B Nafasni Pa Pa'ut Kawun Anuki Pa Pa'ut Kador Nakuk Kador Pa Pa'ut Amul Nakuk Amur Lahahum Manahnun Lahahum Manahnun Ahumata Karahum Ahumata Karakum Ahumata Karanun Ahumata Jawafnia Ahumata Naya Wu Anukihum Yaye Ashuk Re'e Asmua Jayenun Yaye Nataru Afuknun Anunata Mukra Ukum Yaye Nataru Afuknun 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 Yaye Nataru Nun Anun Atun Atun Amun. Namaz Oahu, Yaye Mufaku. Yaye hu, Yaye Nataru. Yaye Soye, Yaye Nataru. Yaye Hika, Yaye Nataru. Ankum at the Pal Mufaku. Yaye hu, Yaye Nataru. Ankum at the Pal Mufaku. Wu Anum at the Mukra Ukum. Wu Ankum at the Muisanun. Yaye Nataru. Aro Muklasnum Atum Ree. Yaye Nataru. Namazo Atu, Aro and Hu. Yaye Mukdamu Afudnun. Ankum Mana Yaked Latuda Muslafunun. Wu Muisaunun. Mana Yaked Sawura Paba. Mana Yaked Kawuna Ka'u. Mana Yaked Ata Akak. Mana Yaked Kawuna Bashar Wu Damam. Yaye Nataru Mukdamunun. Aro Muftanun. Anhu Kawun Munza Mana Pa Nataru. Aro Anhu. Anhu Kawun Baba Yananun. Aro Anhu. Anhu Kawun Atun Re'e. Aro Anhu Kawun Harar. Namazo Dalu. Yaye Nataru Muslafunun. Afutnun Mana Pa Mujwa'u. Afutnun Mana Gahal An. Yaye Nataru Afutnun. Mana Saya Khayara. Afutnun Afutneya. Afutneya. Yaye Nataru Nun. Namazo Rabu Pah Tahmui. Nakuk Talub Tahmui Bi Pa Nataru. Mana Pa La En Lawi Tananu. Kale Ranam Atni at the Lahe Pa Nataru. Wu Kale Namazo Atni at the Lahe Pa. Lahe Kayat Un the Ye Pa Nataru. Pa Sawat Wu Pa Turuk. Panam Masfah Kuwun Pa Sawat Wu Pa Turuk. Z Kawuna Nazula Lahe Ankum. Manam Masfa'at Musa. Ama Hade and Un Wu Damal Un. Manam Muslafukum. Wu Nataru. Aju Laye Nafasukum. Afuk Shane Kawunkum. Pa Sawat Wu Pa Turuk. Pa Hadayan Wu Pa Shafe. And Nun Tawa Ankum. Lahe Pan Damal Wu Shafe. And Nun Tawa Ankum. Lahe Tem Nasui Nun. And Nun Tawa Ankum. Lahe Ashukuma. Ankum at the Muslafunun. Anun at the Murqa Ukum. Anum Tala Nusa Kuma. Anum Talub Nusa Kuma. And so Nun Kahen Nataru. And so Nun Muslafunun. Anun at the Muspa'u. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Yaye Nataru Nun. Yaye Mufta'u. Yaye Nataru. Yaye Atum Re'e. Yaye Natar. Yaye Nun. Yaye Natar. Yaye Nun Tat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Ha. Yaye Natar. Yaye Hatat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Kak. Yaye Natar. Yaye Kaktat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Amun. Yaye Natar. Yaye Amun Tat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Mufkaf Uyi. Yaye Nataru. Yaye Atum. Yaye Natar. Yaye Shashash. Yaye Natar. Yaye Tafafnatat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Sabab. Yaye Natar. Yaye Natat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Arash Tat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Ahsar. Yaye Natar. Yaye Nabab Tahatat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Satach. Yaye Natar. Yaye Hara. Yaye Natar. Natar Shalil Pameye. Yaye Hatwi. Yaye Natar. ya ye anaktat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye ahaharatwi, ya ye nata, nataro shalil pa nawar. Ya ye nafatum, ya ye nata, ya ye mantu, ya ye nata, ya ye bapti, ya ye nata, ya ye sakamtat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye haratat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye ba ibis, ya ye nata, ya ye patata, ya ye nata, ya ye basastat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye imhata, ya ye nata, nataro shalal pa hawe, ya ye anhu, ya ye nata, ya ye matat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye mahat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye kafre'e, ya ye nata, ya ye miskanat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye rayetat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye chentimentu, ya ye nata, ya ye hika'a, ya ye nata tat, ya ye natatat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye ma'at, ya ye nata tat, ya ye renantat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye shay, ya ye nata tat, ya ye sashat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye maftat, ya ye nata tat, natara shalal pa matha. Ya ye sabak, ya ye nata, ya ye anap, ya ye nata, ya ye khanum, ya ye nata, ya ye khanas, ya ye nata, ya ye patah nun, ya ye nata, ya ye saye, ya ye nata, ya ye haktat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye amas, ya ye nata, ya ye saratwi, ya ye nata, ya ye atum re'e, ya ye nata tat, ya ye dahutwi, ya ye nata, ya ye patata warat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye sakat tat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye ha, ya ye nata, ya ye naheb ka'ah, ya ye nata, ya ye sakah, ya ye nata, ya ye ba'ah, ya ye nata, ya ye akah, ya ye nata, ya ye inharatat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye wapawatat, ya ye nata, ya ye sakat hataptat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye meritat sakatat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye sayetat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye garatat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye asat inu, ya ye nata, ya ye bahatat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye chanem tat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye monaktat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye chamem, ya ye nata, ya ye mahatwi, ya ye nata, ya ye kbef senenafaf, ya ye nata, ya ye da mata'afaf, ya ye nata, ya ye meritat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye nasat, ya ye nata, ya ye emdadatat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye nakhakbatat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye sakatat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye anaktat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye dadad, ya ye nata, ya ye tun, ya ye nata, ya ye wahu, ya ye nata, ya ye yasas, ya ye nata, ya ye anach, ya ye nata, ya ye afnuit, ya ye nata, ya ye satat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye sakatwi, ya ye nata, ya ye immaat, ya ye nata, ya ye nana, ya ye natar, ya ye imnuit, ya ye nata, ya ye imsatatwi, ya ye nata, ya ye mugdalatat, ya ye nata tat, ya ye rahashafaf, ya ye nata, ya ye mahatwi, ya ye nata, ya ye amun re'e, ya ye nata, Yahu Anu Ata Khaled Jawef Pa'ut Nun Re Tun Re Tun Re Mun Re And the 4. Okay, guys. So just as a recap, right? We do the rituals for the sole purpose of calibration, right? It's about learning to raise your vibration. So that's why we go through this process. It's important that you guys understand this. It's important that you guys begin to implement this into your daily rituals. Okay. And so we go through the prayers, we go through the chants, and then, and then after that, you're supposed to go into a meditative state, because now the body is in that tranquil state. It makes it easier to go into the blackness. And so this is a process that we go through. So I want you guys to, to definitely be aware of that, and to be conscious of this whole process. Because this is what's going to help you on your journey for development. So again, I always tell everyone, to definitely check out our lectures on our site. It's extremely important, guys. And I challenge you guys, to watch the lectures and ask one question, not just for yourself, but also to help stimulate conversation for others. Because the more questions that you guys ask, the more we can stimulate conversations, the more we can bring awareness to others who are on this journey, right? And so that's extremely important. And of course, ask questions related to the subject matter of the discussion. So that's key, because people, tend to ask questions that that's not in alignment with the subject matter. But so I definitely charge you guys to keep that in mind, because that's extremely important, to ask questions in alignment. So again, I repeat, I challenge you guys to take your time to study these discussions, because it's about about each individual's own spiritual development. And the more our people become aware of their own spiritual nature, and to realize the power is within themselves, and not calling out to these unknown spirit forces that these religions had taught our people. This is what lead us to sound reasoning again. This was what will lead us to solving our problems, and for us to stop depending on other races of people to solve our problems for us. So we can let go of these foreign cultures, and we can begin to get back to the cultures that will empower us as an African people. So this is what our whole goal is. So until then, until next week, I bless you guys. And one last thing. Also, I want to introduce you guys to this website for you guys who are interested in getting books. This is the United Sabians Worldwide, so you guys can get access to books here online. And so that's, very important. And guys, I want to leave you guys with an update. There was an update that was done that's going to address some of you guys, probably some of your questions dealing with the whole COVID and the virus scenario. So there's an update from the master teacher. He kind of goes into that, and so I think you guys may be interested in that. So that's what I'm going to use as the closeout video. Until then, why do?
Respect, and then power, and finally existence. When a species' time comes to go, they may get help by others to extend their time, yet only for a moment, and then it starts up again until each and every one of their DNA is removed. The Adamites were only given 6,000 years and were granted an extension, yet they refused to change their evil, wicked ways. So as of July 15, 1999 AD, they were told by Moloch or Nanar Sin to appeal, and they did. And it was heard on September 9, 1999 AD, and it was denied. So now their end has come as of the year 2000 AD from 4000 BC, the birth of the very first man, Adam.
Let me explain this to you all from the aliens. They said about life and death. This is your true origin. It is in the etheric being of the original creator of all. You all come from there, and you all were all there before you were born in flesh for the first time, and you return to that first etheric being after death. Yet at first, only the outer realm or region, because you must really learn the meaning of living life as all. So you return to this etheric state after death, yet at first, only the outer realm, as I stated, because you have to come back here for new incarnations until you really understand the divine purpose, love. After a final or after the 24th cycle of incarnation, you can go back into the etheric all or into the omniverse to fully and finally stay there as divine. In the flesh embodiment, you are separated from one another by the skin suit or body that surrounds your divine consciousness. There's no separation in your divine personal etheric being. There, you can directly connect to one another while remaining individuals. You see, when you all come so far that after a final incarnation, the 24th, you no longer need to go out from the etheric. All there can obviously no longer be such separation. That means you must overcome this separation before your final death. The only way to do this is through divine love for all and each other, because it bridges what separates benevolence and positive feelings, reinforces it. Hate, racism, violent actions, jealousy, deception, dishonesty, and infighting reinforces separation even more. This came from the Adamites. Any of you, my children, jewels of mine, divine eyes, who are still living in the mind of separation, is yet not mature and cannot go completely back into the omniversal etheric all. They will just keep reincarnating until they learn divine love for each other. The Adamite male has failed his species. This is why they teach original sin came into this world by Adam. And now you all act out Cain's hate and jealousy of Abel, and that will transform you from good to evil. And you will never be free of this cycle of life, death, life, death. You will go on and on until, like the Adamites, you will fade out of existence. Love one another as I love you.
Understand these words and know it is best to stop acting in the image and like the Adamites. Once they die, they are as a spirit with no soul, trapped here. Do you wish to lose your soul and be tormented by the fallen angels as they are, by the shadow beings, the elements that torment them while alive and after death? I don't think so. Well, as said many times, as of the year 2000 AD, the extraterrestrials planned to reduce the planet Earth's population. They even erected stone monuments in Georgia, the Georgia Guidestones. And now look at how many humans have died since the year 2000 AD, from wars, drugs, fires, diseases, viruses, old age, and suicide. Notice what the Euro-American is calling people. Herds, Old English, horde. Look at it. A number of cattle or other animals, just like what is found in the Sumerian stone tablets. They call the Adamites Lulu Amilu, big sheep, lamb, workers, herds, because they saw them as food on the menu. They are on the Anakin's food list. You see, they use mind control to make them desire certain foods, mainly meats. The Anakim like pig meat, so they entice Adamites to eat a lot of bacon. You see it on food advertisements on TV. Eat bacon on everything. Commercials, beef burgers, lots on TV. They also like cheese, so they push eat pizzas of all kinds and add lots of pepperoni slices. These are things some aliens like to eat. The taste of certain foods, so they encourage things they like and people being obese as you see. No place on earth has as many obese people as Americans. So, all Panabab told us all is now coming to pass each day.
Look at the Euro-American Amorites now. You see, they always had money coming their way for doing nothing. And now that the heavens, Mother Nature sent the COVID-19 virus, all of their business had to close. They are willing to open up again fast, not knowing even if the vaccine will last or work. Yet, without income and money, they will take the chance even on others' lives and open back up. Look at sports in schools, churches, bars, parks, stores, and health spas. Why? Money. Without it, they can't rule others, and they don't know how to live poor like they made others live. Look at them, willing to take chances on others' lives. Airports open, trains and buses opened just to make money. It's over for their power and respect, and they don't know how to live with others in peace. They make money by wars, crime, drugs, alcohol, and lust. Yet, love for them. Revelations verse 18, chapters 10 through 11, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. No man buyeth their merchandise any more. Truth is truth. What I was trying to explain about the Euro-American Adamites is they only ruled by dollar signs, and now they are broke. They can't make money off of people of color.
Nowadays, many of the movie stars are dropping dead. They have no riches. You see, their game for 100 years was to find ways to just give money to the people here for doing nothing, like cinemas, TV shows, books, stage plays, fact arts, and wines. And as to the educated, once finished in school, they give them grants, millions to study anything. They also controlled the hotels, motels, banks, stock markets, and they printed the bills. Yet now all of that is over. So now they can't sell weapons to others. Why? No real wars. To fight who? Poor Muslims? It's a joke. They can't fight or beat Russia or China, so who will they sell to? Well, the weather is killing them. Then you have the flu or COVID, plus they get all kinds of cancers and other old age diseases, and spend all their wealth on medical bills. So it's over for them, and now it's let's give money as stimulation. Yet, that means they must give blacks also. It's over for them, and they know it. When you have Cain, Genesis, revealing they are cannibals and demon worshippers, and why you had the insurrection, as they call it, on January 6th. They know their end has come, and nothing they can do except fade away. It's too late to fear because the Black Messiah is already here.
If you want to know which extraterrestrial sent down the COVID-19 virus, or Hebrew Strong's number 3519, Kobad, glorious, from Hebrew Strong's 3513, Kabad, to be heavy, burdensome in a bad sense. Revelations chapter 18, verse 8, March 10th, 2020, was that day, and it was sent down by the Ictorians from the Little Dipper in the belly of Draco, those Anakim, Anunnaki under Nu Nimnir, in the father of Nanar, El Shaddai. It was Namtara or Namta, Fate, the wizard or Magus of Erishkigal, the daughter of Nanar, son of Enlil. Her consort is Nergal, son of Enki. He betrayed Enki for Enlil. So it was Igigi, Namtara, who released the virus from the Makbadat crabs, seen as trail stream above, looking much like streams of clouds, to reduce the population of the people with the DNA of the Adamites, who is being removed since 2000 AD, the end of their 6,000-year dominion. Well, as you can see, as Panabab told us all years ago, stay out the way of the Kakazoo, and they will turn on each other. Enlil's followers in minions, and Inky's followers in minions. And by minions, I mean Nagaru, who follow them and lose their soul. The world is in a mess these days. COVID-19 is a real disease we are dealing with, and its variants. It is advised to become vaccinated for your own safety, yet the choice is yours. In Jewish, the Yiddish dialect of Hebrew, you see K equals C, B equals V, D equals D. So you see from KBD, Kobad, you get CVD or COVID. And the 19th verse of the book of Revelations, chapter 18, you see in they, the Amorites, and those with the gene marker, the mark of the beast, Revelations, chapter 13, verse 1 through 18, cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, finally the 6,000 years has ended. Alas, the great city, New Babylon, Amoritica, Genesis chapter 15, verse 13 through 15, wherein were made rich, world trade building, fallen is fallen. Two of them, Revelations chapter 18, verse 2, all that had ships in the sea by reason of her, Amoritica, burning, saying by reason of her, Amoritica, coastlines, maritime laws, for in 1 hour, 60 years from 1970 to 2030 AD, is she, Amorica, made desolate. And what did they translate Hebrew Strong's number 3519 as in the King James Version of the Bible? Many places, Exodus chapter 16, verse 7, the glory of the Lord, and also in Leviticus chapter 9, verse 6, the glory of the Lord, a craft will be seen, and cause Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 27 to 28, again, as you see, the glory of the Lord. So it's clear the COVID-19, Kobad, is from their own Lord Yahweh on them. Judgment on the children of the devil, John chapter 8, verse 44. And those of our own who live in their image and like them now, they talk about canon, a trick of words. Again, it means Cain, as in 1 John chapter 3, verse 12. He who was born of the evil ones and evil Yahweh. 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 9. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 10. So you can have both good and evil. Yahweh in Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. It was an evil Yahweh that impregnated Eve to birth Cain. Hebrew Strong's number 7014. Cain from Hebrew Strong's number 7067. Jealous. In these canon or Canaanites are now saying officials drink blood, eat human flesh, shapeshift into reptilian, and seek adrenaline to drink as the Greys do. It is all coming out. It takes place at the Bohemian Grove each year, July 16th.
Hanabab Yanan is the real thing. Notice this actual fact was on March 10, 2020 AD, that the World Health established COVID-19 as a world pandemic. That it was on our holiday, the Blessed and Holy Mother's Mary Day. And it's clear in Revelations 18:8, therefore shall her Amoritica plagues virus come in one day, March 10, 2020 AD, death and mourning and famine. People dropping dead from COVID-19 virus, families crying over deaths of family members, famine, the bad weather and the crops dying, for farmers and people who can't move about to get or buy or sell food, sufferings. And she, Amoritica, shall be utterly burned, the fires unlike ever before in America, with fire for, because strong is the Lord God, Hebrew Strong number 3519. Kabod. You have to know languages to see this Hebrew Strong's number 3519 is from Hebrew Strong's number 3513, KBD, to be heavy as in a bad sense, burdensome, severe. And notice these choice of root Hebrew Chaldee letters, KBD. It's our master teacher's job to teach things that others don't know or see. An example is look on TV, the History Channel. They keep saying that the only problem with UFO is they are too far from Earth and it would take much too long to get from there to here. Think of how Christians and Muslims feel about this actual fact. Two Europeans looked this up in 1953 AD. These two guys, Dr. Francis H.C. Crick and Dr. James D. Watson, deciphered the genome, the deoxyribonucleic acid DNA. They uncovered the human having 24,000 in a double helix, Hebrew Strong's number 1752-53, Dawar, in Hebrew gyrate, and in Arabic Dawar gyrate. In molecular biology, and what did this prove? The fact that all people on Earth did not come from one person, Adam. In fact, there are three separate non-related genetically at all. The first, Africans, Homo naledi and Homo habilis. The second, Asians, Homo denisovans and Homo florensis. The third, Europeans, Homo cro-magnon and Homo neanderthals, who were only related because the Europeans came down out of Europe and raped Denisovans and Homo habilis through race mixing. And now there are subgroups the world over. Yet, the very fact that chromosomes DNA does not lie means those who believe the Bible and Quran story of Adam, the first man and all others came from him, is wrong. The Adam and Eve story is not true, and both Christians and Muslims claim that was in the year 4000 BC, and no one was on earth before that. That is now proven to be not true.
Hanababianan has warned the COVID virus is for Adamites. It originated in France, not China, yet spread so fast because our people work with them, under them, hang with them. They tell people the new Delta variant virus is spreading, then say come to Central Park on August 21st for a We Love New York City concert. Why? To spread amongst New Yorkers as it spread in the South with the good old boys. Do you see them asking the KKK, are you all taking vaccines, or Nation of Islam, or Jehovah's Witness, or Hebrew Israelites, or Rastafarians, or Seventh-day Adventists, or skinheads, or Nazi parties, or others who claim they don't trust the system? Why don't you see on TV them asking in public, are your followers taking the shot? They don't ask bikers or gangs, you see. And notice this, Moderna was given to Euro people. They made people remove masks to make money. Now look, Johnson & Johnson was sent to people of color in India. Pfizer was sent to people in Africa. They know what would happen. Who all did this? Leviticus chapter 14, verse 33 through 34. What do you end up with? Delta virus. 33, and the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, when ye be come unto the land of Canaan, which I give to you for possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in a house of the land of your possession. You see the game. If the family takes the vaccine, as the master teacher did, make sure it's Moderna, both shots. Truth is truth. Thank you for tuning in. Tawakum Wasar.